Hey everyone, David here, David D'Souza, and I'm the founder of 360Onboard, and today I'm gonna tell you guys about the different step types in 360Onboard. Okay, so let's hop right into it. So the first type of step here, we have questionnaires. This is like your typical form, right? So it's just a whole bunch of questions you could ask, and people are gonna answer them. So we have short text, we have emails, right? So short text is, somebody, you ask a question and you expect short text as the answer, right? We have email steps, right, where you expect the person to give you emails. We have number steps where you expect the response to have a number in it. We have long text, kind of like short text, just longer, right? We have dates, right? We have dates where you expect them to choose a date, right? So here, if I say birthday and they press preview, they could change the birthday to this, right? Simple as that. We have drop down, which allows them to choose from a drop down, right? We have file uploads, right? So if you need somebody to upload some files, use the file upload. We have a color, which is like anything that has to do with, let's say you want somebody to choose brand colors, right? You don't want them to give you the hex code. You want them to kind of just choose it rather than having to memorize a hex code. And we have three other types. So these two are read only. So we have the info block, right, where you can type something and it's going to be read only, right? So this is what it's going to look like. There's no clicking, nothing. This is just when you want to say something within the questionnaire. You don't want a separate page for it. And lastly, we have the table, right? And this is also read only, right? There isn't much happening here. So here you could see, like, I could add a column, I could add rows, and the column could be plans, right? Oh, actually, I'll put plans right here, and then I'll say basic, standard, and pro. And then here I could put prices, for example. This is purely for example purposes, right? Prices. And here you could put different prices. So this is also read only, right? Because people could just see this and make whatever decision you expect them to make from it. Now, there's also matrix type of steps, right? So I'm gonna remove these so we could test the matrix. So the matrix is when there's multiple questions and you want people, but they're all kind of related to the same, right? Like the same type of answers, like disagree, neutral, agree, or it could even be something as simple as let's see, single, the columns, you could have them be just like yes or no, right? So like yes, yes, and then this would be no, and you could ask your questions, like whatever it is that you want. You could just ask it here. This is what it's going to look like in the preview. And the people could choose, they could choose this, they could choose two no's, right? So this is really good for when you have just a whole bunch of questions where the answer is one of two options or one of three options, and it's the same option across all of them. It's better to put them in a matrix because it's much easier to answer. And yeah, that answers the questionnaire step. Now, the next type of step we have, right, is what we call the tutorial step. Okay, so the tutorial step. So this is how the tutorial step works. The tutorial step is so you can teach your customers to do a certain thing, right? To teach them, there's a lot of ways that you could go about this, right? There's text, there's videos, there's images, right? There's GIFs, there's answers, there's title, and let me explain what each of these mean, right? So text is pretty self-explanatory. Hey, what's your name? Okay, so we're gonna go one by one, right? So when you look here, you see this is what the text looks like. Then here you can add a video, right? So I'm gonna get a video and I'm gonna add it here just so you guys can see what that would look like. Okay, I'm back. So now you could just come here, paste it, right? So as you guys can see, the video kind of embeds itself directly to kind of show you guys what that would look like. Boom, immediately right there. And in this case, that also means you could upload a video. You could also have images and GIFs, right? You could have an answer step. So essentially what the answer step is let's say you were giving somebody a tutorial, but you don't want them to go to another page in order to answer a certain question. The places where you would see this especially is, let's say you're teaching somebody how to get, for example, an API key or how to get their email or any of these things. After you teach them how to do it, you typically have a question of, okay, now paste it in here. You want an answer box in the tutorial rather than making a completely separate step of a questionnaire again, right? Next thing, titles. So it's a tutorial, so you could have titles. This is purely just for formatting though, like video showing. This is what that would look like. Right, as you can see, this is bigger than just regular text. Descriptions should be also bigger. So, hey, my name is David, right? So they don't have bullet points. And the last one is steps, right? Steps is numbered instructions. So essentially when you write things and you have them separated by a new line, it gets written as a number expression. So for example, different ways to make money with AI: videos, apps, etc. As you can see, they're written as numbered steps. You could kind of just have them numbered like that. That's it. That's everything. Now here's the thing. There are some templates from common agency things to do, right? And you could click any of them, apply them. They're gonna ask you questions and you could just set them up, right? In this case, we're not gonna do that just because I'm showing this to you guys, but there are templates right here that you can use. Same thing with the questionnaire. There are templates right here that you can use, right? Templates, you could ask any sort of questions. Now let's go to the third type, e-signature. This one is simple, right? It's purely about signing things, right? So e-signature steps, their only goal is to help you sign sign different things, right? So to kind of give you an example here, let's say I have a contract I want people to sign, right? So I'm gonna put a mock contract right here. Okay, so let's say I have this service agreement right here, right? And obviously I have these client signature fields, right? So all I'm going to do here is I'm gonna just put a signature step right here, right? See, there are different type of signature fields. So there's initials for you to put your initials, right? Date, for date, that means it's a date separate from date signed. So date signed gets auto-filled by the date the person signs, but date is completely different. Now the next thing is name, you know, like full name. Then we have email. Let's see, name is full name, right? Simple. Then we have email, company name, title, text. Text is more you know, whichever one you want. So essentially, like, I could put text right here and I could name it mother's name, right? I could name it mother's maiden name, right? This is especially important because of the simple fact that we can't predict every potential text field that you would want, right? So we have the basics, and then we have stuff like custom text, right? And checkbox, this is for when you have a checkbox that you want people to check. And then lastly, we have what we call dynamic content. So how does dynamic content works? Dynamic content literally grabs from another field, right? So it could grab from the questionnaire, right? And essentially it's gonna grab the answer. So all it does is it copies the answer from whatever field that you put. So if you say, let's say you have a questionnaire, like in this case, I have a questionnaire, right? So I can come here. This is the first question. Choose, right? I don't know. Then I could come here and I could click on my dynamic field, right? And I could make it grab from the choose field. So whatever you choose here is what's going to be written here when the customer sees the field, right? The dynamic field is going to be already filled out by whatever it is that you chose. So this is where you could put your calendar link, and then people will essentially have access to your calendar so they could book a time with you and all of that, right? It's actually very simple. Now you have two ways to put your calendar. You can either put your link, which is going to be embedded if it's like a Calendly or anything of the sorts. If it's not a Calendly, if it's like a platform that we don't currently have in our code as embeddable, the next thing that's going to happen is you're going to have to click button in order to set that up, right? So it's going to appear as a button. Now, the third version is you have the embedding code and then you put the embedding yourself, right? So simple as that. That's it. Okay, so now we have the payment steps, right? So with the payment step, it's a very simple concept, right? It's a payment, it's invoicing, right? So first here, this is where you put the pricing, right? So you could put $500, $5,000. You could use like a fixed amount, or you could make it dynamic and use the field label, right? Fixed amount, you know how it is. You could make it a weekly subscription, monthly subscription, yearly subscription, right? And on the dynamic side of things, you could make it where you put a field, like let's say you ask somebody, for example, you know, how many team members you have, and let's say you charge per team member, you would put team member times whatever your price per team member is. And that's the price that's going to appear here, right? And so it's going to be based on whatever answer the person said in one of the earlier steps, all right? Here you can also change the payment method. In this case right here, we only have Stripe, but you could put Pabbly, and we have RazorPay, PayPal, a few other coming soon, very soon. And you could even activate that the customers can use coupons if needed, right? And yeah, that's it. And the last one that I want to show you guys is platform access. Okay, so with platform access, what you're essentially doing is you're using this to request access to one of your customers' accounts, right? Now, here's the thing. There's two types of platform access. Both are still much easier than having to explain to your customers how to do something, right? There's one-click platform access, as you guys can see right here, right? So with one click, what happens is the moment the customer clicks, like let's say I want access to a customer's Google's ad account, right? The moment I do preview, and the customer clicks connect with Google, all of a sudden Google is going to ask them to sign in, and after they sign in, our system is going to make the connection, the invite, everything is going to be done by our system entirely. Okay, so that's the first version. But there are certain things that are not as direct, right? So certain permissions, these platforms do not allow us to automate. So what we do instead is we have a list of already written down steps, right? And so let's say you click on Meta, we would already have the steps, the perfect links, everything. So although it's still a slightly bit more of a hassle than just a one-click connection, it would still take less than a minute, maybe 2 minutes for your customer to still achieve the same results, right? And yeah, that's it. That's really everything. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you.